listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, right here on LA Talk Radio.
That's right. It's the Sheena Metal Experience right here on LA Talk Radio. For more info on the show, latalkradio.com, SheenaMetalExperience.com. Don't forget to email me and let me know what you think of the show. If you're looking for me online on social media, it couldn't be easier. I'm just at Sheena Metal. I think I may be the only one. If there's another one, I haven't found her yet, but I'm still looking. I'm also the founder of a movement of peace and love and kindness and unity. We're at IamRaisingTheVibration.com and at RaisingTheVibration.org. Please go there if you're so inclined. It's where a lot of my heart lives. I founded it to honor my mom's spiritual teachings and humane teachings. And, you know, you just got to keep doing things for your mama. That's what life is all about. On the show this hour, two lovely and talented women, one of whom I am meeting for the first time. One is a very dear friend. Their new album is called The Motivator. Please welcome to the show, Bree Darling, and back to the show, my dear friend, Cherie Curry. How are you both? It's so wonderful to have you here.
Hey, Sheena, long time no see.
I know. What's up with that?
Oh, my God. Well, you know what? Just been busy like a little bee.
That's good, right? It's good to be busy.
And you've been busy.
I have been so busy. It has been a very transformative time. It's interesting how when you're young, everybody sort of makes it seem like your 20s and your 30s are going to be it. And then you buy a pair of yellow polyester golf pants and retire and sip mint juleps on a golf course. I don't know. But for me,
Bree, are you there?
I'm here. Yeah, no, I'm listening to this. I'm listening to the stories going on between you two girlfriends.
But I got to tell you,
we go back quite a ways.
Should.
Sheena's been over here to my house.
Oh,
How
it's
many?
beautiful.
A ton of times. We've done some crazy stuff, girl.
We're due for some time to.
It's really nice to meet you, Sheena.
It's lovely to meet you too, sweetheart. Cherie, we're due for a spiritual night where we just have like a night and hang out and talk about the universe. That's my favorite kind of night. And you have created such a spiritual place where you live. That's you've got it's an amazing artists and spiritual lair.
Oh, thank you. Well, yes, you have to come over. We'll have some tea and chit chat, as they say.
Love it. And Bree, maybe you will come and join us. I would love that. Welcome to the show, Bree. Since it's your first time,
and I will come and get all spiritual with you.
I'm loving you too already. This is already we're 6 minutes in and we're already talking about spiritual, and I'm thrilled. Bree, tell all my listeners, since it's your first time on the show, sweetheart, and welcome. Tell my listeners a little bit about you. So where'd you grow up in the world, and when did you first know in your heart that you were an artist?
Oh, when I was a little tiny kid, I think I started drawing. When I was about maybe 3 or 4, I started drawing cartoons. That was a visual artist. And then I started playing music when I was 14. I started playing drums, and I kind of became a professional drummer really, quickly. I joined a little teenage band, and we started going out there and working. And then I met the girls that became Fanny, and we played when we were 16 and 17.
Wow.
That band eventually turned into Fanny, and, the story goes on. And eventually, 45 years later, met Cherie Curry.
Wow. So you guys did not know each other in the day?
Never met back in the 70s. No, I saw her play in about 75. But I never really met her. I was just, Fanny was winding down, Runaways were winding up, and I got a chance to see her play and kind of blew my mind. And it was like passing the torch, and off they went and just took over the world.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how did you two?
Sheena, I just have to say, Bree's also played with Robert Palmer, who is quite the genius musician. I would think you'd have to be pretty damn good to play with Robert Palmer, who I have a huge crush on. And I remember hearing his first single. I remember where I was. I mean, I was on the 405 freeway getting off at Burbank Boulevard at 10:30 in the morning when I heard Addicted to Love.
Yeah.
And I mean, that guy was a genius.
Yeah.
And also Carole King.
Wow.
Just a lot of people that she had to really prove herself, obviously.
Sure.
Well, when Fanny went away, I had to find something else to do, and I continued to play and had a great time. I had to fill the gap between then and now, and that's what I did. But now is great. Now is really big fun. I'm really glad that Cherie and I did meet, and we're having a ball working together. So
that's wonderful. Bree, why did you pick drums? Of all the things, why did you pick drums?
You know, I didn't really pick them. I guess they kind of picked me. Both of my brothers played music, and my younger brother played drums, and I was playing on his drums when a band came over to audition him for a band, and the momager walked in with the guitar player. You know, the guitar player was 12, and the manager was his mom. They walked in, they saw me playing the drums, and the light bulb went off in her head, and she said, "Ooh, girl drummer." And she gave me the job right then and there.
Wow.
And I didn't really know how to play. I kind of could play, but not really. And I learned, though. I learned on the spot. You know, my dad filled out the kit. It was, you know, it was a little Sears kit, drum kit, you know, cheapo kit, and you know, he filled out the kit with got another little floor tom for it, and I had to join the musicians union when I was 14, and it was kind of a big deal, and it was scary, but you know, I think it was more fun than scary, so I just said yes, and that was it. That one little tiny moment in time changed my life forever. And here I am, you know, much later, still doing it. And I think
so beautiful.
I'm grateful for that tiny moment when they walked in the door. And I still know the family that, you know, that the mom has passed away, and actually the guitar player's passed away, but I know the rest of the family, the kids in the family from that, you know, so it's kind of cool.
That's beautiful. Isn't it interesting how I think so much of life is just about sort of smiling your way through the fear and keeping going, especially as artists, right? Because there are all those places in our careers that are amazing and ascended, and then we have those minutes where we're like, I don't know, are we still going to go? And you just kind of have to continue to love yourself through the next place where the next ascension happens again, right? Otherwise, you give it up. And I booked live music in LA for 25 years. That was kind of my day job when I was first starting out in radio. And I saw so many people,
wow.
You know, my ex-boyfriend used to say, first the guitars are hung on the wall and then they go up on eBay. And it was the saddest thing to see people quit, because you have to really kind of keep that love in your heart that it's going to keep coming back. And it always does. But it's almost kind of about just continuing to love yourself through the ups and the downs of it, because it is, you know, it's not like you sit at a desk all day long and stamp a paper, which would probably be soul death for all three of us. But
and you know, and it is ups and downs. You're absolutely right. It can't be ups all the time,
right?
And it's not downs all the time. But there's plenty of both, and sometimes those downs can get you really down.
Sure.
And you can't expect it to be up all the time. And and so, you know, Cherie and I were just talking about that yesterday. You know, it's like, you wake up with fears every day, but as long as the fun is bigger than the fear, you just keep trudging through it. You know, you look for those little golden moments.
Absolutely.
So good. Those little treasures.
Absolutely. And I think when you get into a place, which is why we were talking at the very beginning, right, about what it's like when you're no longer in your 20s, when you get to a place where you've lived here long enough and you've been on the earth and you've been in this business long enough to understand that there is always another peak and then a valley and then a peak, you tend to get over that sort of panic in between, like, oh my God, the phone didn't ring today and it's all over. And you realize no, this is the resting time for creating, and then the next ascending time is coming soon.
Yeah, the best time is like when you know there's something coming. You're not doing it yet, but you know it's coming. That's the best time.
Exactly. Right. That's when you can sort of exhale and relax.
That's right.
And you have to kind of, I mean, I think in a way your relationship with the arts is kind of like being in a relationship with a person. You sort of have to keep the love alive, keep reinventing yourself, keep reinventing the relationship with the arts and the entertainment business, and stay in a good place with it. And it's a garden, right? It needs to be tended and weeded and loved and watered. And if you do, then it returns with beautiful things that grow and bloom, like this new album that you guys have.
Well, thank you. Yes, I agree with that completely.
Yeah, you know, I agreed with everything you just said too, but I'm just going to sum it up a little shorter because,
sure.
I mean, you're just so spiritual. You say everything so right. You know, for me, it's just show up.
Okay.
You know, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, even like going out to carve, it's hot. There's bugs. I got bug bites all over me. And it's like a part of me is thinking, well, you know, because we're doing so much stuff, me and Bree as well, for this project and talking about, with our agents where we're going to tour and all that. And of course, my brain's thinking, well, maybe I should just deal with this. But it's like I had to go out. I had to just show up out there in that wood pile. And once I did, you know, things start happening for me. So, but it's funny because, you know, there's always not only the trepidation, but a little bit of fear. What if I don't end up, you know, going out there? And what if I don't really love it like I used to love it? And all that. There's so many conversations that go on in your head, you know, that you just have to show up. Everything else works out.
I agree.
In my view.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. It's just showing up and not succumbing to the fear of the what ifs and the what could be and the what if the tour is horrible, what if I don't love it anymore. You know, I started out as an actor and I haven't done that full time since I was in my early 20s, and every time I step on a stage I do the same thing, Cherie. I think, is this going to be the last time I love it? And then every time I'm on the stage, I fall in love with it all over again. And I think, why would I even think that? And then like 6 months goes by between a project and I think, is this going to be the last time I'm going to love it? I just think it's in our nature to doubt. And I think as artists, we probably think way too much. And I think that,
no doubt about
but that moment where you realize you're back in love with it again, right? I mean, I remember going to see you perform on New Year's Eve a few years ago. And I agree with Bree. Like, if you have not seen Cherie on stage, I mean, it's the most amazing thing. And I know you and I love you. And I was with you right before you went up there, and I was with you right after you got off. But there's something about the way that I'm going to get spiritual again. I can't help it. I mean, you really channel from universe when you're on stage, and it's like you light up and become like 50 times the energy that you have, you know, energetic presence that you have as a regular person. I mean, there's a magic thing that happens to you when you're on stage.
Oh, thanks, sister. I appreciate that.
It's true, though. I mean, so you must have that feeling too, like, wow, and I remember you said something to me once, and I say this to people all the time when they need cheering up. So here's the credit to you. You said, the minute you get on stage, there's no worries. It's what happens. It's everything that happens when the microphone is off that you have to work your way through. And I don't think I'd ever really thought about it like that, but it's so true. No matter how sick I am, upset I am, worried I am, the minute this microphone comes on until the time it goes off, I'm fine.
And you know what? I mean, Bree and Sheena, me, we're so much alike, and that's the crazy part. You know, where we're worrywarts, and you know, or you know, like when I'm doing my art, when the two of you are doing your art, because Sheena, you're an artist as well. You know, you've always got that voice in your head that's saying they're not going to like this, or this isn't going to look good, or one bad cut or something. Oh, now you screwed the whole thing. It turns out better in the end because of that tiny little nick that wasn't supposed to be there. And it's just, to me, the letting go of a lot of this fear, like you were talking about, is just monumental. And the older you get, the more you're wary of it and tired of the fear. It doesn't rule your life anymore.
Right.
It's like, you know what? We'll deal with it when it happens. If it happens, and more likely it never happens.
No.
But, you know, and that really comes with experience. And through age, you have experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you've learned to forgive, which I know took me a long time to do.
Yeah, me too.
You know, up until I think I turned 50, I was having a real difficult time. I don't think I forgave anybody before I was 50. You know what I mean? It's so funny how just what a blessing maturity is.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said it's not the polyester golf pants and the mint juleps in the country club. It actually is, I think, the most amazing time in your life. And when people say, like, don't you wish you could go back and be 25? I'm like, no, as if it's going to happen. No. I'm fine where I am. This is because I love that, just knowing that everything beautiful is going to continue to exist. And that if you have a day that's not great, or you have a day where you feel like maybe you haven't done your best performance or your best carving, or, you know, it's hot, you can only carve for a couple hours and you have to come in, you know what? Okay, because guess what? Tomorrow's going to be better. And I think, like you said, it's just being through it enough and realizing that. And like Bree, like you said, just knowing that the next peak is coming and this is just the valley, I think takes so much of the worry out. Because, like I said, I think artists, we just worry. We live in our heads and we worry. And because we're very empathic and we tend to sort of channel the world, which is how we make art, we are feeling everything all the time. And a lot of it we just need to get rid of and not worry about.
Yeah, you said something really that I find is true for myself too. Like you said, when that microphone is on, you're totally present and that's why I love performing live.
Me too.
Much more than I like doing it in the studio, because you can't push the red button and stop the record. Mm-hmm. I like being under the gun because I have to be completely there and present, and there's just some connection for having to be there completely. And that's my favorite thing, is being there live. I welcome that. I love being under that pressure.
Yeah.
Much more than, and that's like, when you've only got, like when I'm making a cake or like maybe when Cherie's got something due, there's no time to stop. You got to just go. And that's when the magic happens, when you just have to go and you can't stop. For me, that's when the magic happens.
Absolutely. Now, how did you two know? Because then I'm gonna play some music throughout the hour, so I'm gonna play something right after this. But how did you two know that this was a collaboration when you met?
Well, you were talking about how when Cherie has that magnetism when she's on stage. I think she has that as well. When I first met her, when she walked in the room, it was
yes.
like she just had this commanding presence that I just needed to know. I needed to know her.
Yeah. And
well, it's funny because I felt the same way about Bree just through her vocal on this record, on Fanny Walks the Earth, which, by the way, Sheena, you have got to get this record. I mean,
I will.
Fanny Walk the Earth is so good. It's also produced by Dave Darling, who produced our record, 6-time Grammy-nominated producer. Mm. And when I'd agreed to do some background vocals, pardon me, with other gals, of course, from Fanny, but also from the Go-Go's, the Bangles, and other girls that had cracked the ice pretty good in the music business. I was sent When We Need Her, which turned out to be the first single, and I just listened to it, and I went, oh, my God, I mean, holy cow, this is really great. And this girl, who is she? She's amazing, and why isn't she a huge star? I mean, I was just taken by her voice, taken by the production, the songwriting. And so when I walked in that studio, I just, Dave introduced himself. He and I talked on the phone, and I just said, I didn't know they were married. I said, where's the singer? I wanted to shake her hand and tell her what a great job she did on that song. And, that's how we met. And, I told her how I felt about her, and I said, you're amazing. Your vocals are incredible. And I think that must be a nice way to be, to meet somebody. I know that, a lot of people it's in the heart and real.
A lot of women, not just women, a lot of people aren't like that. They don't come, with telling you how much they appreciate you. It's people walk in the room and they need to know that it's all about them.
Yes.
So this is Cherie Curry, who is like, awesome. And she's coming and telling me how great she thinks I am. And that's pretty darn cool. And that's who she is. That's how she has been since I've known her now. I've only known her 2 years. We've already made a record. She's always holding somebody else up. She's always given it. And I love that about her. I'm learning from her, and I'm learning to finally trust other people. It's a wonderful way to work with another person. It's all about giving to the other person and trusting and letting other people shine. And I love that. I've always been a team player. I love being in bands. But how good does it feel to know that you can, count on somebody else to not, be such a greedy, you know what? I won't even say.
Yeah. Well, and insecure, I think.
Well, that's because we've known so many of them throughout our lives.
Of course.
3 of us, I'm sure.
Oh, God, yes.
We've known too many of them, unfortunately, and that's why I didn't want to be in the business anymore. I was just fed up. Done, over. there's no reason why I would ever think a Brie Darling would come into my life, or her exceptional husband, producer, that I just happen to go to do a vocal. And I'm selling my house, as you know, Sheena.
Uh-huh.
I was putting my house was going up for sale. I was in escrow for some land up north.
Uh-huh.
And when I met her,
Uh-huh.
when I met both of them, and then when there was talk about maybe we should do a record, I mean, it just stopped everything that I had absolutely known I was going to do. It stopped it dead in its tracks. And I wasn't looking for anything. Trust me. I thought my time was up, and I was okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, I had to be okay with it, you know? It's crazy what happens in this life.
Yes. It's crazy what happens when you release and let it all go, how sometimes then it all comes back. I don't know if I've ever told you the story, and Brie, you don't know the story, but I got to a place in radio where I was working at a place where I was very unhappy. It was sort of the most famous I had been and the most unhappy I had been. It was just not a fit emotionally and spiritually, and everything I thought it was about, it wasn't. And then when the last show ended there and I decided not to pursue one, and I didn't have a radio show and I didn't know what to do, and I was driving home one day and I said, you know what? I was thinking about buying a bar at the time because I was booking a lot of live music, and everybody said, why don't you just buy a place and bring all your nights to one place? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to get a restaurant, and I'm going to cook and book music and maybe have a little space upstairs where I can teach acting or comedy or whatever. And I give it all up, and I'm so thankful for everything that the universe has given me as a radio host, but I'm going to let it all go. And if I never work again, I'm just thankful I've made enough of a name that I can maybe get an investor or two for this thing and move forward. Literally the next day, I got a call from the owner here at LA Talk Radio, and I got offered this gig. So I think sometimes you just have to say, I'm okay. All right. Thank you. And I'm ready for the next thing. And then the next thing comes, and lo and behold, sometimes.
I honestly, it's like the universe then intervenes. It's just whatever I guess the universe has in mind for us.
Just when you thought you were out, it pulled you back in.
Everything was a blessing for me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and it had to be something great to drag me back.
Yeah.
It had to be something so much better than I ever expected, and that's what this project is.
So wonderful. That's
you
so
know,
wonderful.
That's how Brie is, and this record, and you know, so.
All right, thank you, really Cherie, for that. Yeah, you know, I just finished a record with the Girls and Fanny, and I never would have thought that this would have happened. But now, when I look back, it almost seems like it was destiny in so many ways. It's just, and there you go. You know, I think that opportunity is constantly flowing by you, and you just, if you're open to it, and when it goes by, you just reach out and you grasp it, and you make a commitment and you make a move, you know, and there it was.
Jean having a stroke, which I don't think you shared with Gina, her having a stroke right after the record was released, pretty much put through everything into park.
Wow.
For them doing any kind of touring, because they were going to they were offered a tour with to open for the B-52s, and then and Jean has a stroke. I mean, right after.
Wow.
I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah, bass player in Fanny. I mean, right a week before our first show, right before the record was released, it was just crazy, and so I went right into writing mode. I didn't know what I was writing for, but. And I was in turmoil, didn't know what was going to happen, and this just kind of naturally and organically happened, and I'm grateful for it. You know,
so beautiful. All right, let's play something, because I'm sure everybody's like, "What is this thing?" and we want to hear it. So, should I play the title track?
Right.
I have the Motivator. Should I play that?
Oh, please.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
Yeah,
So we're gonna play this as the title track from the Motivator, Cherie Curry and Brie Darling. And we're going to play this really quick. Then we're back with the girls right after this. It's the Sheena Metal Experience on LA Talk Radio. Let's check out this wonderful music. I'm so excited.
Egyptian ruby. know, the one that you keep in your bedroom. Love the golden cat. Love the golden cat. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, I love the velvet hat. You know, the one that caused a revolution. Love the velvet hat. Love the velvet hat. I love it. I love it. La 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 la. La 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 la. Yeah, yeah, yeah. La 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 la. La 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 la.
That's The Motivator, the title track from the new CD from Cherie Curry and Brie Darling. They're both with me right now. I got to tell you, girls, that is some of the grooviest stuff I've ever heard. That is unbelievable. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It defies genre, and it's so thick and fat and groovy. The production is unbelievable, and you guys blend so well that I honestly can't tell who's who where. And I think that is so cool. It's like your one voice split in two. Wow.
That's so funny because our voices are so different, but we feel the same way. It's so much fun singing together. And,
yeah.
And I do that too. I go, is that me or her? And I know who is who. It's just bizarre, but yeah, it's so much fun.
Well, I think that the tonality of your voices is different, but the energy is so much the same that it comes through, and you're
Maybe
like,
that's what it is.
Wait a minute, what's going on here? But I think that's so cool and so wonderful. And isn't it great that to be able to put an album out with another woman, and you guys, you come from a background of playing in music for different women at different times, but isn't it great when women get together and just support each other and do something great like this that isn't like, that is just tough and gutsy and lovely and sexy and rockin', and I mean, I'm so impressed with you both. Thank you so much for bringing it here.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
That's so awesome, Sheena. Thank you so much. Well, I mean, it's a whole new experience for both of us because we haven't had the very best experiences working with other women, of course.
Sure.
We carry a bit of pain from back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
So, it never really completely goes away. But what it does do is it gives you a really good radar. And you can tell when someone's a good person or when someone's just trouble, Yeah. And I stay away from the trouble people.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think when you're young in this business, no matter what you are, dancer, artist, musician, actor, somebody tells you somewhere along the line that every other thing that's like you is your competition. So I think women in music think every other woman in music is their competition. And then suddenly there's this thing. And, I was raised in a very matriarchal home by a very strong woman. So I didn't grow up with that sort of like, my mom didn't have like an axe to grind, I guess. So she just raised me to just go out and be lovely to everybody. So I got into this business thinking everybody was going to be my friend and it was going to be a giant tribe and everyone was going to support each other and lift each other up. And let me tell you, I got about through 1 year of high school theater and I realized that was not the case. But that's why I think...
Same here. That's exactly my experience. And my original desire, because of the way I was raised, never went away. So it was just heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak.
Yeah, me too.
So to have this experience with Cherie, it's like finally, it's like,
yeah,
I just love it.
Yeah, it's so one. And I know, Cherie, you and I have talked about this on and off the air, that it's like time for, it's time for women to stop. Let's be sisters and let's stop being adversaries. And let's, you know what, you do your thing and I do my thing. And obviously I'm not going to be on the Motivator CD and you guys aren't going to come and host my show. So no one has to worry that their thing's going to be taken away. Let's just support each other and lift each other up. And on a bigger level, artists in general, right? I mean, we should be supporting each other all the time because we're already up against a business with business type people. And sometimes they don't.
Hey, you know what? I would love to say something,
sure.
Just because I think it's important. There are a lot of supportive women out there.
Oh,
and
yes.
I've worked with a lot of supportive women and other women musicians. And it's not just, it's other artists as well. I've had the same, crushing experience working with some men, too.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
I just wanted to put that out there.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but you're right. Let's support each other as artists, man, because we're already up against, the business part of it is rough for us because we have to be business people and artists. And sometimes it's really hard for me to mix those two.
I agree.
I don't have a business sense in my body. I just want to make music and write songs and be creative. And then I have to face this other part of it. And I'm not good at it. I'll be real honest with you.
Yeah. And just to continue what you said, Bree, along the same lines of, we've had good experiences with women and bad. We've had good experiences with men and bad.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the business people. There are business people in this business that are lovely.
Yeah.
And there are artists who have not been lovely to me. There are business people who have been wonderful to me and the reverse. So I think it's just, but I do think that people who kind of come out of the box with business heads just sort of energetically function a little different than artists. They think different than us.
Yeah.
And we need them and they need us. And that's what makes the business go. But sometimes it's hard for us to get them to understand where we're at. And it's hard for us to become them and put on a business head and learn how to be the person that thinks business and then have to think about also writing the songs and performing the songs. And it's a lot, you know what I mean? It's a lot to have to get both those sides of your brain working at the same time. And, and probably
absolutely true.
When you two were coming up in the business, it wasn't as necessary for artists to have a business head as it is now, but the world has changed. So.
Yeah, but back in those days were the days when a lot of artists, unfortunately, were taken advantage of by business people.
Yep, it's true.
When royalties were taken, and look at our careers when I don't know, Cherie, you can talk about it because I don't know what your experience was exactly. I've heard little things about it, but Kim Fowley and
the Runaways they stole all our money and all our advertising and the record company and Kim Fowley. And it was just ridiculous. I mean, to not make any money whatsoever on sold out tours of Japan, of the UK, and to come home, and I think that's the first time. And I think we were handed like $1,600 a piece for these, this huge tour that, nothing with as far as merchandise and anything like that. And, we were grateful to get that because we were begging for just money to buy Tampax or a burger.
Yeah.
But,
the top two priorities.
And then for it to go on and on and on for years until finally we sued. And that was 23 years ago. We sued Polly Graham and Kim Fowley, and we had to. Yeah. And to make it right. But, of course, all the money that was lost over those, 30 years, 20 some odd years, whatever it was, is just a really great lesson that is really what people, they see money or they see something. It's very difficult for them to do the right thing. And that happens again and again and again.
That's true. Well, and also the labels in the day, right? There was a separation where you weren't allowed to really interact with your fans. And, Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears is a pal, and he's done the show a lot. And he said to me once on the show, he said, before the internet, I didn't even really know what people thought of my music. Like, we were not encouraged to, apart from meet and greets and things, to really have interactions with fans. And we didn't see the fan mail, and we weren't allowed to answer the fan mail. And he said, so then when the internet started and people started emailing me and posting on Facebook for me, I had absolutely no idea what people really thought about my music.
Wow.
And I think that for all the things we say about the internet, that there are ways that people worry it's not tearing people apart and not bringing people together, and it's better to see things live, and it's better to have a live experience and meet people in person. And I agree with all of that. But one of the most beautiful things about the internet is that now your fans can send you something and you can actually get it telling you how your music from the past however many decades you've been in the business have changed their life forever. And hey, I played this song at my friend's funeral. Hey, we played this song when we got married. This was my graduation song. I mean, I think maybe even artists didn't realize how important it is to get that feedback and to realize that everything you went through and the things you talked about, Brie, and the things you just talked about, Cherie, were all worth it, because look at these people's lives that you changed. And that's what it was all about from the beginning.
Right.
That's what makes it all worth it, but yeah, the internet, of course, it can, it's like anything, can be used for good or for bad,
Absolutely.
of course. But
Absolutely.
that is so true, because 22 years ago, I thought we were all but forgotten. I did not think anyone thought about anything about the Runaways.
Right.
I thought we were just left over by all the Go-Go's and the Bangles. Didn't even really realize that we had been much of an instrument for any of them. But you find this stuff out, and it kind of soothes the savage beast.
Yes.
and the regret and the fears that we talk about. It's like, wow, really? Well, that gives you hope, that maybe I was doing what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it was all for something. I think human beings, like, it's in us to just know. We want to know that that we matter, that we're loved, that we're doing the right thing, that we have a purpose, and that what we're doing it's for something. And I think when people come back to you, and I've seen, Cherie, people come back to you with tears in their eyes, with their little stories of how your music moved them, or they picked up they heard the Runaways, so they picked up an instrument, or they didn't think there could be a girl band until they saw. I mean, that's changing people's lives, and that is the most. And that makes, I think, a lot of the stuff the business stuff that we endure, and maybe the not so great people that we endure, and the situations where the money got hinky that we endure, it makes up for some of it, because you realize, wow, you know what, I helped somebody with my music. Somebody got happier. Somebody got out of their depression. Somebody left their bad relationship. Somebody didn't kill themselves. Somebody had the best day of their life because my music was playing. And I mean, that's amazing.
But,
that's my favorite thing.
I was just going to say we were saying the same thing, Brie, at the same time.
I'm sure.
I was just going to say one more thing, because I think this is kind of important, and then I'm going to let you take it away, Brie. But also, it's so funny. I mean, the first thing that I ever bought besides a 45, and this, I think I was 13 years old, down in Newport Beach at a head shop underneath the oceanfront hotel that my Aunt Evie had rented, and then they had the Fatso's Burgers down below, and the head shop next door. And I walked in, I was 13 years old, and there is this poem by Frederick S. Pearls. And I know that you and I discussed it, Sheena, when you were at my house once. But I bought this. I bought this plaque with his words on it, and it is more relevant to me today than ever. And it says, I do my thing, you do your thing. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine.
Yeah.
You are you, and I am I, and if by chance we find each other, it's beautiful.
I love that.
And I've kept this all my life. It's in my kitchen, and I just thought, you know what? I understand this now. Before it was a fantasy, but I really do understand this so well, especially today working with Bree and it even having you as a friend. It really does come full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think that's such beautiful words, right? That it's okay for you to do your thing and me to do my thing and Bree to do her thing. And isn't it beautiful when we bring our things together and we make a thing that's more beautiful than the collective thing is more beautiful than our individual things. But we're still us, and we're still doing our thing. It's funny because my mama used to say that to me all the time. She'd always say, just do your thing, kid. Just do your thing. And I use that when I teach. I use it when I motivationally speak. I use it when I throw church at my interfaith service. I use that all the time with people, because I think a lot of folks just feel like, it's not okay to do your thing. and we all have to do our thing and you know, and have our own path and you know, so sort of like, you know, let walk your own path and not let anybody else tell you what path to walk. And then wind up like you two have with this album in a place where you never thought you'd be. And now here you are with this beautiful project, you know, just because you kept walking down the road. I mean, sometimes you just got to keep walking. You know?
Right.
And I think that so let's play something because I can't wait to play something else. So I'm going to play Too Bruised. How's that?
Oh, I was just going to suggest that.
There you go. See, we're on the same page, my friend. All right, this is from The Motivator, Cherie Currie, and Brie Darling, and this is beautiful, and I can't wait for you to hear more of this. This is Too Bruised. It's the Sheena Metal Experience on LA Talk Radio. We'll be right back after this great music.
I'm letting go, not holding out for one of us to come around. Little knife cuts left us flayed and bare. Be it right or be it wrong, our crossing paths became our cross to bear, and it's taken us down. Goodbye from me to me and you. No, I'm not angry anymore. I'm gonna let you go with love. I only wish the best for you. Me, I'm just too bruised. We took aim, we missed the mark. Let's say we tried exhale and give it up. There's an end to everything you start. Nobody's wrong, no one is alright. After 1,000 times, this time has taken us down. Goodbye from me to me and you. Whoever said that life is fair, I guess they must have got it wrong. There is no win left, only lose. And me, I'm just too bruised. This time has taken us down. So goodbye from me to me and you. No, I'm not angry anymore. I'm gonna let you go with love. There is no win left, only lose. Me, I'm just too bruised. From me to me and you. No, I'm not angry anymore. Let you go with love. I only wish the best for you. And me, I'm just too bruised.
It's the Sheena Metal Experience right here on LA Talk Radio. Wow. That's from The Motivator, Cherie Currie, Brie Darling, and that was Too Bruised. Girls, I got to tell you, that's maybe the most beautiful thing that I've ever heard. I just want to sit in my hot tub and cry and listen to that over and over and over again, but in a really good way.
Oh, thank you, Sheena. That's awesome.
Wow.
Well, you know, exactly the way I felt when she first played it for me, because I was sitting in her office and she goes, Dave wrote this music. I wrote something. I'd like to play it for you. And so, of course, I had my eyes closed. And I'm listening, and I just hear these lyrics. I mean, I just had chills all over my body just listening to it, even through my speakerphone. And I opened my eyes, and she was actually singing it live for me at the computer. And I almost fell off her couch. I'm not kidding. I freaked out. Because I just said, oh my God, that's like one of the most perfect things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, I said, it's a perfect thing. And I called my son driving home. I said, I just heard the perfect song that Bree wrote, Bree and Dave. And I said, and I sent it to him, and he said, "You're right, Mom." He goes, "That's an amazing song. It's Jake's favorite song on the record, my son.
Probably will be mine too."
You know, he doesn't give compliments, unless they're very well deserved.
Well, and he too is such a brilliant songwriter, and I've played things here that the two of you wrote, Cherie, and he's brilliant.
Well, he is. And I just realized at that moment when I heard this song that I had to up my game as a songwriter to even walk in, into that studio with these two. It was like, whoa. So, because songwriting's always scared just the living bejesus out of me. I always have felt that I am just less than par, and that's being kind. So to hear that song just floored me. That was another moment in my life where I went, this is the absolute right thing for me to do, is to work with Bree and learn from her, and Dave's producing and everything else, and songwriting as well. And we we did write together. We really realized that the three of us together too, we did some pretty cool. It was easy. That's it. It was just easy,
Yeah. Well, here's the cool thing, So then we started working on some stuff together, and Cherie might, she says she was like a little bit maybe intimidated, but man, she came to the party and she says, "I like these words better." She brought some words in, and she was right. She had some great ideas, some great lyric changes to some things and she just brings. She brings something to the party, and I just love that,
Yeah.
She's balls to the wall. Yeah.
But that's the interesting thing.
Well,
I
also
about
knew that with their work ethic, I had to step up my game, because these two work all the time, and you can't be going, well, I'm gonna wait until I go in the studio. No, you have to work, and you got to do it well, and you have to do it now, because they're just going to pass you by. That's
right. Right.
So. Yeah, it's really great to challenge yourself. We all like a challenge, right, Bree, Sheena?
Oh yeah.
When we're not challenged, we're very unfulfilled.
Right.
We're bored if we're not challenged.
Exactly. Well,
I like it better when I have to get something done. I definitely do.
Sure. And we like people that are going to help us up our game. I mean, we like somebody that makes us want to be our best us, and when they work with us. And I also think that when you're where you're supposed to be with the right people and with your tribe creatively, it almost becomes effortless. Like when you're writing, you don't really know whose words are whose. It just all, like Shakespeare said, the play's the thing, right? The song is the thing, and everything just feeds into the song in this very sort of effortless way. And I think that's how it's really supposed to be.
I think you're right. You know when an idea is right and when it's not right, or when it needs a little bit of help, or when it could use improvement.
Yeah.
And like there was a line that I wrote, and I kind of knew that it was, as soon as Cherie said, "Wait, try this instead," I knew she was exactly right when she said it.
Yeah.
I knew that it was the line was much better. It really elevated the song. And so that's such a cool thing when somebody can take something and elevate it. And what can be better than that?
I completely agree.
I think it's the company too. I think the company has everything to do with it. That sparks makes your brain fire on all cylinders is when you're around someone that is, because Bree's a very spiritual person, and she really has a heart, which sometimes I've found too big a heart, for some people. And she and I have had multiple discussions about it because the last thing I wanted to see was to her be hurt, you know, because are we done with the hurt already?
Yeah.
Aren't
right.
we?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
We are.
Right.
We're done with the hurt.
Yeah.
And so that was tough because when I met her, she was going through some things and she was injured. And so it's so nice because I've watched her come completely out of her shell. Really, completely. It's true, Bree. I mean, you're really just. She was so afraid to trust. I know that. We'd be speaking when she was in Spain, and she started to loosen up a little bit, but because she went for a couple weeks to Spain with her husband, producing something, and I could hear her just slowly come out of the armor that I have worn, you've worn, we've all worn it,
of course.
And it's hot in there, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot and sticky and sweaty and gross.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to have to wear armor anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sick of it, and it's heavy too. Damn it.
I don't either. No, and I think that's really, I think, one of our biggest challenges in life, right? Especially as artists, is how do you stay. How do you be watchful and not get too close to people until you know what you're getting into, but at the same time approach everything with an open heart, because if we lose that gooey center in us, that's where the art comes from. We have to stay soft and lovely inside, because that's where all the good songs come from, and that's where all the good stuff comes from, and it's hard to keep opening yourself up again and again and again, and jumping back in with humans that sometimes hurt you. But the answer is, like you said, Cherie, to just be trapped inside of to become the woman in the iron mask and be stuck inside that thing all the time and never really feel like you're living. So I, like the Aries that I am, always choose to just come out with that open heart and boundlessly greet everybody with a big smile and take my chances. And sometimes it's amazing.
Well, I'll let you and Bree be the ones with the big open hearts. I'm going to be the one sitting in the back.
Okay.
Sheena, I have to tell you something right now. You're something that you're saying right now is it's going to be a song.
Okay,
it's going to be a song because it's going to be, because what you're saying, it's a wonderful story. It's like it's hurt. It hurts so bad, but it's just got to be, and it's going to hurt, and you're going to do it, and you take the hurt. And that's a beautiful thought. I love that.
You have to, because
I see it.
Like the alternative is you just close up inside. And if we close up inside and crust over too much, then the art stops coming. I always call it the Cadbury cream egg syndrome, that you have to just be tough enough on the outside to face the world, but gooey enough on the inside to keep making the art. And if your shell's too hard and nobody can bite through it, then it doesn't work. So you have to stay like in this weird space of, because I always imagine when they created the Cadbury cream egg, they were like, okay, how are we going to hold this thing together but still make it so people can eat it and not chip a tooth? And I think that's what we have to kind of do.
I'm going to let you guys teach me how to do it.
Cherie's got it just right, because she has the biggest freaking heart. She is the most wonderful. You might not know. You might not be able to tell. I know, because I've seen her time after time be the biggest heart, holding people up, taking care of people. Sometimes she has to kind of hold me back, because I can be a little unkind without knowing it sometimes. She takes care of everybody. So, but you might not recognize it as easily, because she can come off, tough. But let me tell you, she does take care of me. She takes care of business, but she is the biggest heart in the room. She just is. So she's the, what did you call it? The Cadbury what?
Cadbury cream egg syndrome. You have to be the Cadbury cream egg with the soft inside gooey and the hard candy shell, but it can't be too hard.
Maybe
because
that's her.
People have to be able to bite through it. You have to be able to. No. It has to hold the cream
No,
in.
That's free. That's free in you. That ain't me.
Okay, well, I'm here to say...
There's a big old hard nugget in the right between the hard shell and the gooey. Then there's the hard again. So
Yeah.
You know, maybe
it's like
that's just the way it's going to be, and I'll let Bree in the duo be the Cadbury egg.
Okay.
I'm just going to make sure nobody breaks that egg. Is what I'm going to make sure of.
Oh,
Kimberly.
That's good. That's amazing. You two are amazing. I'm gonna play. "Do It Again" as we go out. But before I lose the two of you, I just wanted to say how much I think this album is brilliant. How I can't wait to hear the whole thing. I hope somebody sends me one so I can become obsessed. And how proud I am of both of you. Even though, Bree, I just met you, I feel like I've known you forever. And I'm so excited for this project. And so I would love for you guys to come back sometime.
We'll have some tea here, and Bree will come on over. I mean, you two will just be fast friends, like you and I were fast friends all those years ago. And Sheena, thank you so very much. You're such
pleasure.
a brilliant gal.
Thank you. Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here with both of you. Where can people find the album? Where can they find out where you guys are going to be and when the tour is going to start and all that good stuff?
You know, you can find us on Amazon.com, all the places where you can stream music, BlueElanRecords.com, and you can find Cherie and you just look for Cherie Curry and Bree Darling. You'll find us on our social media, Facebook. We're on Instagram. Just look for us. Look for the record, The Motivator, and you will find us. And please buy our record. That helps us tremendously. So thank you, everybody, for your support.
Beautiful. Thank you both. Cherie Curry and Bree Darling, The Motivator is the album. Please don't even hesitate. Just rush out and get this brilliant thing. I'm going to play one more track from it now. It's the Sheena Metal Experience on LA Talk Radio. If you missed the links for this album and these girls, you can go to SheenaMetalExperience.com, LATalkRadio.com. Send me an email or find me on social media at Sheena Metal, and I will gladly forward the links to you. Also, I'm the founder of RaisingTheVibration.org, and I am RaisingTheVibration.com. Please visit us there. I would love that. And now, from The Motivator, this is Do It Again. It's the Sheena Metal Experience on LA Talk Radio. Let's play one more track from this fantastic new album.
Standing in the middle of nowhere, wondering how to begin. Lost between tomorrow and yesterday, between now and then. Do it again. Where are all the people going? Round and round till we reach the end. One day leading to another. Get up, go out, do it again. Then we're back where we started. Here we go around again. Back where we started. Come on and do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. And you think today is gonna be better? Change the world and do it again. Give it all up and start all over. You say you will, but you don't know when. Then it's back where you started. Here we go around, here we go around again. Come on and do it again, do it again.
This is your conductor. The next stop will be London. Yes, madam, I said London. Don't push me. You, sir. Behave yourself. No, talking to you. 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 Talking to you.
The days go by and you wish you were a different guy, different friends, and a new set of clothes. You make alterations and affect a new pose, a new house, a new job, a new car, a new nose. But it's superficial and it's only skin deep, 'cause those voices in your head keep shouting in your sleep. Get back. Get back. Now we're back where we started, and here we go around again. Back
Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Alcohol-related harm affects us all. Everyone knows someone who's been touched. Alcohol-related harm ranges from lost jobs to serious mental and physical disease, from ruined family life to property damage, from violent crime to homelessness, death, or prison. Go to alcoholjustice.org and sign up for action alerts and e-news. Then you'll be ready to add your voice to many others when it's time to call for action that will reduce alcohol-related harm.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Imagine loving yourself without shame, loving others without blame, loving as love untamed. Sound good? Then join me, Rebecca Haywood, modern-day shaman and Toltec guide, for the Shameless Heart Retreat amongst the pyramids of Teotihuacan, Mexico. Reserve your space today at RebeccaHaywood.com.
Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, right here on LA Talk Radio.
It's the Sheena Metal Experience right here on LA Talk Radio. For more info on the show, latalkradio.com, SheenaMetalExperience.com. Don't forget to email me and let me know what you think of the show. If you're looking for me online anywhere, I'm just at Sheena Metal everywhere, social media, every place. I'm the founder of IamRaisingTheVibration.com and our nonprofit hub, RaisingTheVibration.org. It's a movement of peace, love, kindness, and unity. And I have a spiritual practice at IamRaisingYourVibration.com and at SheenaMetalSpiritual.com. And I'm also the staff pastor at the Founders MCC Church, and I do an interfaith service once a month called Saturday Night Spiritual, and we'll be there September 14th for the next one. And then we start our regular night, the second Saturday of every month. How exciting is that? My guests all this hour are returning to the show. Lovely friends, wonderful people. One of them sits on the advisory board for my RaisingTheVibration.org movement. Please welcome back the amazing Carolyn Hennessy and Tracy Pell. Welcome, both of you.
One of us does and the other one wants to.
Thank you. Everyone's welcome to get involved. Everyone's allowed to get involved in peace, love, kindness, and unity. I never say no. When you have a nonprofit, you learn never to say no to those that want to help you.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Right?
Yes. I don't actually have a nonprofit, but I say if anyone wants to help me in any phase, I say yes.
Right, exactly. Well, because you have to. I mean, we do in fact get by with a little help from our friends.
One hand always washes the other, and it's like the daisy chain.
That is the truth. Yeah. Of course, Carolyn and I are also the hosts of a web series called Altered with an A, like altars. Isn't it interesting that we would have that show, and then I would become a staff pastor and stand at my own little altar? It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Yeah. And we are at wearealtered.com, and then we have some live shows. We're going to be cranking those up in September again. at comegetaltered.com. Come and see us and get altered with us, and we will teach you how to create your perfect sacred space.
Yes.
And of course, I have my Good Vibrations crystals, and Carolyn
I have
has
the Queen's Curios, which is a line of spiritual oils that I have formulated, and apparently, the reports coming back are like kind of off the charts.
Right.
Yeah.
I learned I use the Queen's Health to help
Yep.
heal my knees.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all about the Queen's everything I can get.
Yeah, Queen's Curios.
Me too. I use them all.
Yep.
You do, don't you?
I do.
You do. And
I haven't used your new ones. You've got some new ones coming out.
Yep.
But I think I have everything else. You know what, Sheena? I don't have health, and I would like to get some.
Health
I have
is
everything
wonderful.
else, though.
Yeah, health is great.
Two new ones.
Smells lovely.
Two new ones that have just formulated are the Queen's Guard, which is a wonderful protection oil, and the Queen's Third Eye, which
I'm
is
very excited about that.
The Queen's Third Eye is sort of opening you up psychically and
Mhm.
saying, you know what, this is your intuition. Your intuition is because we are all just to a certain degree psychic, and we are.
You go, magic lady.
Our intuition is never wrong.
Yeah,
we're just never wrong. Where we get into such serious trouble is that we never listen to it. So the Queen's Third Eye is, kind of calling down dreams and asking for messages and peace and just being a little more psychic with your bad self. And then the two that are actually on the formulating table are the Queen's Battering Ram, which is a roadblock buster.
Nice.
It's like this. If
Nice.
there are obstacles in your path, use this, and things just kind of explode to smithereens. And then the other is the Queen's Clear Path, which is when the road is now made open to you, to keep it open.
Now, when they come to you, does universe just sort of say, guess what you're doing? This is it, and this is what's going to be in it, and go?
Sometimes, yes, and no. The universe doesn't necessarily tell me what's going to be in it. I know enough now to know, well, this herb is good for this, and this herb is good for this, to kind of have an idea. But then I do a lot of research as to what goes into them. But a lot of what I'm asked for is what I create. So when people, like for instance, someone was telling me yesterday, they said, I have all these roadblocks in my path. And I said, well, there's something coming for that. And how interesting, So and we all do. We all get mired. We get mired in our stuff.
We do.
So
We
it's
put a
like,
lot of our own roadblocks up.
Please. And
sometimes they're universal, and
But
we're
again,
supposed to jump over them for a reason.
that's right.
You
But again,
never
it's
know.
all intention. And so this is just helping you kind of get your intention straight.
It's beautiful. When I started my Good Vibrations crystals, I actually started them because I was going to do the first Come Get Altered with Carolyn in Get Altered with Carolyn at comegetaltered.com in April. And I thought, well, Carolyn's going to have her oils. I should have something. So I decided I was going to create a cleansing set with just selenite and black tourmaline. And it was just going to be the one set, and that was it. And then Universe had other ideas.
No.
So now we're at 9 sets.
9 sets.
And I keep saying then I was going to stop at 3, then I was going to stop at 4, then I was going to stop at 7, and then the 2 more just came. And so I'm saying that I'm done with 9 for now.
You're never done.
But I don't know that I'm ever done.
Because there are all different conditions.
Right.
You could have people coming to who say, I feel spiritually gunky. Here's a set for that.
Cleansing.
I feel like someone has put some work on me.
Right.
That I'm cursed or crossed.
Just started protecting.
Yep.
So I have cleansing, connecting, grounding, uplifting, right? Healing, balancing, empowering, protecting, and endearing.
Endearing, yes.
Yeah.
The Queen's seduction might be another one.
And a lot of times
because it's like that's like an influence or an attraction oil. Yeah.
As opposed to embrace.
As opposed to the Queen's embrace.
Right.
Yeah.
And endearing is just sort of love across the board. Because I'm not a hoodoo practitioner. I come from a different place than you do, which is why we love each other. Everybody can't be the same. And so it's just genuine love. It's to become more endearing to others, have others become more endearing to you. Fall more in love with yourself, fall more in love with your life, with the world, with everything. Because I think that sometimes we're so scared because we've been hurt in the past. We're so scared to actually open ourselves up and really love. And crystals are good at opening you up, as are oils.
Right. Now, I don't think I heard one that is use these crystals and it will help take if there are crossed conditions. If someone's done something, right? Take off the curse and the cross. Do you know what I mean?
That's cleansing. That's what cleansing is for.
Okay, that's
and then also you should also have grounding, and if it's been a really bad one, you should also have healing. And healing is interesting because, I've always, even when I just considered myself to be an artist, I've always identified as a healer.
Mm-hmm.
And healing through laughter, healing through art, healing. And my mother was for sure a healer, a therapist, and a teacher, and a psychic medium. And healing is my favorite stone, malachite, and her favorite stone, lapis. So who knew that all that time my favorite stone was a healing stone and her favorite stone was a healing stone? Yeah. So it's, there are no accidents. So Tracy, what about you? Because last time you were here, you kind of hid in the corner and then we made you come on. Tell us a little bit about what your spiritual path has been like.
Interesting. I think of myself as extremely spiritual. We were talking a little bit about it today. I grew up Catholic. I have always called myself, honestly, a happy Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I had good, strong women role models. The nuns that I grew up with were strong, open-minded, liberal women.
From Catholic school.
Yep. And
not those nuns we hear about with the beating.
Absolutely not. Now, I had some that maybe shouldn't have been teaching when I was in grammar school, but my high school, I went to a girls' school here in the Valley, and they were amazing women.
Wonderful.
And we all got great educations, and we were encouraged to argue and debate and question and believe what we believe. And but so in the course of continuing what I knew and what I loved and the theatricality of it, it's a very theatrical religion.
I love that about it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I had my own, obviously, what I didn't like, what I believed in myself, my own spirituality, my own, reading all about Buddhism and Taoism and all of that stuff as an adult. And I am in love with the hoodoo stuff, which listening to both of you at Altered, you and Carolyn, so much of it crosses over.
Of course.
So it's wonderful, I think, to be open to having the crystals help you ground yourself and having something tangible to make you focus, and the candles being lit, which we do all in so many other religions. Hoodoo's not a religion, as you say, but which is why I feel like even if you consider yourself religious, there is room for other philosophies and ways to meditate and
much
focus.
Of hoodoo is grounded
energy.
in Christianity.
Spirituality is a palette.
Absolutely.
And you're allowed to put whatever you want in your palette. And I love that you're a happy Catholic because, and Carol and I have talked about this so many times, I get sad when people feel like they have to totally throw their religion away.
Oh, there's a lot of bad
they're going.
shit going down there.
Yeah.
But,
but
there's a lot of great people in there too. And I was really lucky.
Keep the things that you love. Yeah. And I was raised Presbyterian, which is basically a religion. It's basically an excuse to eat coffee cake. The sermon is just sort of there. So you can have, right? It's five seconds of sermon and 45 minutes of coffee cake.
Christmas and Easter Presbyterians. The Encino Presbyterian
I
Church
just remember hearing God, Jesus, and the coffee cake is terrific. And then a stampede of Presbyterians to the coffee cake. And the funny thing is through my work with the Founders MCC Church, where I'm staff pastored, they asked me to join the Los Angeles Queer Interfaith Clergy Council. And the first meeting, they roll out the coffee cake. And it was this amazing coffee cake. And I don't know that I'd had that kind of coffee cake since my young Presbyterian days. And I thought, wow.
Was it in a ring?
It's a spiritual
It
coffee
was it was like a big brick.
Yeah.
And it was covered in the white sugary. And it had the crusties
like a
on
little
the
bit
top.
Hard, the frosting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes.
It's a little
and
bit,
it had the little those little bundles of goodness that are cinnamony and whatever's in those.
Yeah. And little pecans on top.
Yes, and it had the layers with the nuts inside. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll take 6 of these. And thank you for asking me to join.
Did someone make this for you?
I don't know where it came from. I just know that ministers eat. So apparently there's a buffet at every ministerial thing. So I love when people keep pieces of what they grew up with. My mom was very metaphysical, but she loved the teachings of Christ. So she kept Jesus with her all the time because her Jesus was not the condemning Jesus, was the lovely hippie healing Jesus. And my mom, let me tell you something, at Christmas, and I have it, had a nativity that took up half the dining room.
You're kidding.
There was 75 donkeys and 50 camels and shepherds everywhere and angels. She would pick pieces up at places when I was a kid. And she loved wise men. She was always making me things that she collected the wise men back before we knew, thanks to History Channel, that the wise men were actually psychics. That they were
Oh, did you know that?
Yeah.
No, but
I
I've
did not know
heard
that.
some of that. Yeah,
They
I
were
couldn't speak about it, but I
that makes
remember hearing it.
perfect sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were holy men of different faiths.
Perfect
Right.
sense.
And they
Well-
heard of this magic being that was being born, and they wanted to go see what it was about. So the birth of Jesus, it's actually an interfaith story.
Oh, I love that.
It's got
Can you
Christians,
name them?
Jews.
I can name them. Can you name
Balthazar, Melchior,
Melchior?
and
I think it's Gaspar.
I can't do the
I
thing.
thought I
love
could.
that.
I was so confident.
Sounds
But
like
you know what? We could look it up.
You caught
Some-
me off guard.
someone
I'm
will
kind of
call
proud of
in.
myself right there.
Sounds like what to name my next 3 cats.
Balthazar,
Right.
Melchior, and
Ga-
Gaspar.
That's
I
fantastic.
think.
We'll
I think.
figure it out.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have my my mom and her aunt, who was the same age as my mother's sister. I don't know. Go figure. It's a big Norwegian family at one point. But my mom and my 2 aunts, Aunt Rhea and Aunt Barbara. I would walk in the 70s. They were very crafty, extremely crafty. So you'd walk in and they were making bowling pins, Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And they would sew things, and they'd sew like fabric turkeys for Easter or Thanksgiving, and they'd sew bunnies and the whole thing.
I've inherited some of those bunnies. They're adorable.
Yes, you have. Yes, you
I have a
have, and you
chocolate.
have the pumpkin.
Yeah, I have a
And you
pumpkin
have a
and the
pumpkin.
chocolate bunny.
But I remember coming home one day, and my father, being a production designer, such an artistic genius, he did all the faces for 3 sets of wise men. 2, they're like 2, a beer bottle and 2 wine bottles. So one is kneeling, and 2 are standing, and it's like the cloth. Not quite paper mache, but like you would drape these things, and it was very flowing. I mean, they're so incredibly beautiful. My dad painted all the faces, and my mom still has her set. But have you seen? I think you've seen them.
Seen them, I think.
You've seen them at my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
They're stunning, and my aunt.
And not just for Christmas?
Well, I mean,
They come out
only
really
bring
early.
them out. Yes, they do.
They
Because
come out. They
Mom
come out
believed
very
wise
early.
men were for always.
No, I start decorating for Christmas before Halloween.
Okay.
Because I like it, and I can.
Right.
And
Because
you can
it's my-
add to it as the time
And
goes by.
that's very true.
Right.
But my mom still has her set, but my Aunt Ree passed away, and I was given her set. So it's just extraordinary because they all look, and my Aunt Ree was a little more crafty than anybody else either, so they're a little
Yeah,
bit
my
better.
mom was a genius like that. As
It's
a matter of fact, I've
wonderful.
just decided I'm going to start making mojo bags, and my mom made those.
I
And,
make mojo bags.
Do you?
Yes, of course.
Do
Lucky hands, of course. Mojo hands
Yeah.
or Jomo hands, as sometimes they
Yeah,
are
I want to
called.
start. I want to start making little mojo bags so that the crystals can go in for folks.
Sure.
So I'm going to work on that, and I may just have to. I've got all mom's stuff. I may just have to learn to sew. It may be the time that I learn to. I never could keep a plant alive till she died, and even on her deathbed, she was like, "Please don't kill my plants." And after she passed, I have not killed a single plant. My plants are thriving and happy.
Interesting.
So maybe I also got the sewing gene passed down.
Possible.
And I could.
There's a specific way to tie a mojo bag, by the way, which I
Okay.
will teach you.
Oh, I look. See,
Yeah.
see, it's nice to have
It's
friends.
just
So,
specific way.
as a good Catholic girl, Tracy, when you were first discovering different
I don't know
things,
about
right?
that.
Buddhism,
Let's not
and
get crazy.
metaphysical
She's happy.
things, and hoodoo. I mean, was there ever a time where you were like, is this okay?
Wait, what do you mean?
When you started discovering different kinds of spiritual faiths,
Oh,
did you have to add? Was there a minute where you were like, is this okay?
no.
I love
No.
that.
I really think that all spirituality is what you need it to be. And if you feel something spiritual, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no. I created, after your guys' thing, I did create a little altar for myself. And I
Good.
was
It's in a
sort
room?
of waiting.
Oh, yeah.
My mother lives with me, and I was sort of waiting for her to go, what is going on here? But she didn't. She just sort of accepted it right away.
Nice.
And so no.
I love
think
that.
I've accepted all of it.
I think there are only, and Carolyn, you and I have talked about this. I think there are only really 2 religions. There's the light and not in the light. And that's pretty much it. I mean, everybody who, and a lot of my
There's
main.
the force and the dark side.
Right, exactly.
And people talk about the Catholic guilt,
Yeah.
and I always look at them and go, God, how come I missed that. I missed
Oh.
that day, which makes me laugh that I was either so full of myself that I just never felt
Right.
guilty about whatever
Liberal nuns.
they're
I
supposed
blame
to
liberal
be.
nuns.
Yeah, perhaps.
They took the guilt away.
Perhaps. I mean, unless I do something horrible, I don't call it Catholic guilt. It's my own
your own.
It's my own conscience. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. I love your nun story.
Because you're responsible.
They're
for
good.
yourself.
You've met some of them. They're good people.
Oh,
You still know all
I
your
love
liberal
many
nuns?
of the nuns. Well, because
I teach there now.
she teaches at Louisville High School.
Really?
Yeah. I never in a million years saw that coming.
Wow.
Broadway Hoofer.
But
done
yeah,
tons
I've had a
of touring
performing arts
shows
over there and
I
stuff.
mean,
So
sings and dances.
What do you teach?
all the performing arts.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's
That's
head-
a total coming
she's
home
head of the
again.
whole performing
And
arts
the nuns that are still up on the hill come down for the show. Some of them come down for every single one now that the department is really built up, and they're just the greatest women. They're the
Wow.
greatest women.
Where is that school?
In Woodland Hills.
We'll go.
Very beautiful.
We go.
I would love it.
Our mutual friend Dan Maley does.
Oh, it's where Dan teaches.
It's where Dan. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Oh.
You got the job because of Tracy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So Dan is doing this year. What's he doing? What's this?
The Lark.
He's doing the.
How about
Lark.
that? How about that? So
Wow.
we're doing a play about
Ooh.
being condemned by the Catholics,
And
Oh.
but then sainted later. But
Sainted
it's,
later.
it's yeah.
interesting. Oh, that's interesting. And then. We think in the spring. Do we announce it? We shouldn't announce it. Wait a minute.
maybe
Anyway,
not yet.
Tracy is responsible for this because she's on the fence about a few about the spring musical. So she's responsible for all that. But the really cool thing, that's all well and good that she's teaching these kids. Whatever. The really cool thing is that she's teaching me to tap dance.
Oh, how is that going?
Well, I've had one lesson, and apparently I can flap very well, and I can shuffle ball change pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah,
And-
you're natural.
Yeah, I'm not a natural because this was the class that I religiously missed at drama school.
Really?
Yeah. I just
It's a
went-
class I never got at drama school.
Oh.
But doesn't everybody want to tap dance? I
My
think it's
mom
so weird that
always
you
wanted
ditched
me to
that
tap.
I
class.
ditched it.
Everybody does.
Never came up for me.
I also am not like, for instance, when I saw a chorus line, in New York, and I saw Kelly Bishop, and I saw I think it was most of the original cast. And I says, okay, now pick up this and do this and turn over here, and they use all these French terms and glide and whatever, and and go and these and I went and I watched these people and they knew it instantaneously, and that's not me
Yes,
at
but
all.
They had 12
I
months
know.
of rehearsal.
I know, but
Yeah.
there are
15 years of lessons.
But exactly. But you told me maybe this is the thing where unless it's bowling, I don't want to do something that I can't be really, really good
Yeah.
at. Because there are people with after I guess 15 years of lessons
Yeah.
who can just go, okay, and they take off and they do it,
Yeah.
and that's
You are
I don't
expected
wanna-
to do that to some
it's
degree
true,
at an
when-
audition.
at a Broadway audition,
Yeah.
and I'm not there, but I can flap really well, and we had
Nice.
You'll get
classes
there.
on Monday
Learning
nights.
a new anything language, an art
Yeah,
form,
sure.
dancing, whatever, it teaches your brain how to learn.
So
Even when I
great.
go back to class, I have to reteach my brain how to learn somebody else's choreography. So it just couldn't be a better thing to do for yourself.
We're doing all of these things to keep our brains, working at a sober 25-year-old level.
Oh, good. That's good.
Escape rooms, tap dance.
Oh, is that what that's all about?
Well, yes.
Yes, we're saying yes.
Seeking
We
the
are gonna
fountain
say
of
yes.
youth?
We're trying to just stave off,
Well, it's puzzles,
Oh,
right?
right.
So
It's puzzles, yeah.
and we have the best time doing that. So, and we're also, she's a little bit more fluent in sign language than I am, but I've studied it, and so we're going to start taking sign language classes again, and it's
You're
all
like back in school.
it's kind of
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
very exciting.
I think that if people don't stay busy and productive, you get stuck in a rut. If you're not moving forward, sometimes you're sliding backward because you're thinking about everything that didn't go right, you didn't do. Why isn't this happening? And that's a bad place for people to be.
It goes
Well-
back to your being open too, don't you think? I
Of
mean,
course.
like all the crystals and helping you open so that you can learn
Yeah.
something and be open. Suddenly, something else comes in your
comes
path.
Yeah.
in, and
Yeah.
you don't
Things
you don't
I
know,
never thought
but
I would
it's
do.
one of the most exciting things, getting to formulate stuff like with the oils and then going out and helping people.
Mhm.
But as actors, the three of us, we know, especially actresses who are not 20,
Okay.
we know we have to have many irons in the fire.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's because whatever stage our performing career might be in, we want to be kept cerebrally busy
Mhm.
and have a wonderful time. So yeah, we do, you know, we do stuff, and of course rescuing animals, which
Right.
I've now gotten this one.
Yeah.
We're like joined at the hip
Like-
for so many things, but also animal advocacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got her petting dolphins and
We've
rescuing
gone,
seals.
We've
and
gone to SeaWorld, which we love so much because of all of the incredible work that they do, which very few people hear about because the louder voices are saying, "Oh, you know, empty the tanks and SeaWorld's bad." And SeaWorld is so far from bad, it makes my head spin. It's one of the most
Here's my thing
glorious
with the whole
places.
SeaWorld is bad, zoos are bad thing. Preserves are bad. Well, then what happens to the animals that are getting abused or hurt or starved or separated from their parents or children in the wild? We just let them die? And there's some people who believe like, well, that's what they're supposed to do. You just have to let them die. Okay, well, how about we put them someplace where they can live a good life and be spoiled?
Well,
And then other people who don't get it can come and see them and
Okay.
realize what they're
First
about.
of all, the wild is a brutal, brutal place. When
Sure.
I hear statistics like orcas at SeaWorld only live like average 14 years, but they live up to 70 and 80 in the wild. Wrong. It's flipped. Reverse that because of pollution and boat strikes and whaling, et cetera, et cetera.
And humans.
And well, exactly. The wild is a brutal place, but they can survive and grow and populate. And if populations die out in the wild, it's because, yes, it was meant to. Here's where we have screwed up. We have infested the wild.
Right, that's what I was going to say. The wild isn't the wild
there
anymore.
there is no more wild.
Yeah, the wild is no longer the wild.
So it is now, but I keep hearing about all of these species like the scimitar horned oryx and certain I mean if we needed bottlenose dolphins, we could repopulate from the gene pools that they have in Orlando at Discovery Cove. So because we have so totally screwed up the planet and there is no more wild, it is getting to be incumbent upon us to either A, clean up the wild and then leave it, but with 9 billion people on the planet coming in around 2050, that's not going to happen. Or yes, we take care of as many animals as we possibly can until and hopefully that day will come soon when we can repopulate, because there have been species now that we can't that have disappeared in the wild. We have rehabilitated them. We have raised up their numbers because we've had the gene pools here because of SeaWorld, because of zoos and aquariums, modern zoos and aquariums, not the roadside attractions where you just want to just put a bullet in the head of the yes, I do, of the proprietor. You know, and I
But those are going away.
But slowly but surely going
Those
away.
are going
not
away,
as not as fast as for my liking, but slowly but surely.
Yes, because they're getting shamed out
exactly.
of business now.
Modern zoos and aquariums, places like SeaWorld.
And that's a beautiful thing about the internet is people are learning that live in rural areas that don't know this is bad.
Right.
People that don't live around a SeaWorld or,
Right.
you know, are now learning, hey, you know what? A dolphin does not belong in a cage in the mall.
No.
But they have to learn the difference.
Exactly. And
because
they're
lumping SeaWorld in with that.
And that is
because of the Blackfish movie.
Well, Blackfish, which was
What can I just say?
Say it again. 85% of that movie was an outright lie. And the director of that movie is, at least in one written interview that I know, so responsible for that, because she said, I want to make this as sensational and as ugly, and I'm paraphrasing here, but that's the sentiment, because I want to win an Academy Award. And fortunately, the Academy looked at Blackfish and said, this is just a collection of YouTube videos. This isn't a documentary.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't even nominated for an Academy Award, which is wonderful. But as I've said before, I think on this show, and as I say on my podcast, Animal Magnetism on UBN Go, every other Sunday, that every millimeter of training footage in Blackfish is now 40 to 55 years old. It was 35 to 40 years old back 5 years ago. So 40 to 55 years old, which is like you and I and you saying, I'm never going to go to a dentist because of what they used to do because of dental practices 50 years ago. I'm never going to go to I'm never going to see another gynecologist because of what they used to do to women 50 years ago, 75 years ago.
Right.
They were doing, the gynecologists and the dentists and the trainers at SeaWorld were all doing the best they could for that time with the knowledge that they had. But Blackfish doesn't say that. Blackfish doesn't. They just say, "Look what they're doing." Look, and say, as if that's what they're doing today.
Yeah.
And it is so far afield from what they're doing today.
Well, there is that ideology, right? Like, and I don't mean to name any names, but PETA.
PETA, go ahead. You don't want to say it? I'll say it.
That
PETA.
really believe that animals shouldn't even be pets. That we should euthanize all the dogs and cats and all the species that can no longer live in the wild and start from the scratch, and all animals have to live in the wild and people are not allowed to domesticate animals. Let me tell you something. They would have to drag my Scorpio cat off my bed kicking and screaming because that's her home, and she doesn't leave that bed almost never, only to pee and eat. And
the PETA hypocrisy is so mind-boggling it makes your head spin, because one of the PETA creeds is better dead than in captivity.
Yes.
And that includes your dogs, my dogs, your cats. It includes pets. Now, what's interesting is that I had a friend who went to work for PETA and was trying to just talk to me about SeaWorld. It wasn't trying to, he was just trying to berate me about SeaWorld. And I finally said, we cannot, because I'm willing to talk about anything other than animals with you for the sake of this 30-year relationship. But no, you want to keep hammering. So we couldn't. But what is fascinating is that this individual has cats.
Oh.
And I just find it,
Are they in captivity?
They're being held in captivity. I also, I mean, the statistics are out there, and it is my belief that in, I believe, 3 separate, or at least, let's just say at least one interview, the head of PETA is on record saying, I like to go in and inject dogs, or it's the best part of her morning, and release them from their kill them, and release them from their earthly bonds and send them up to heaven. This is my
Dr. Mengele.
This is my belief that this is it.
Right.
If someone said, show us where, I would have to do a lot of digging and a lot of research. But I'll square it with Gray Stafford, because I think Gray Stafford, who I think you know, my friend Gray Stafford, who's my animal advocacy mentor, he has all of those statistics. But 98% of what PETA takes in,
but isn't
they
that
kill.
more of just human being playing God? So they're claiming that we're
Of
human
course.
beings playing
God,
but then they're going to kill everybody, which is human beings playing God.
Or they're going to kill all the animals in captivity.
Right.
Because 98% of what they take in that they say they're supposed to find a home for, they euthanize. The kill rooms are going and going and going.
Yeah.
And they've stolen animals off of front porches in rural areas, or what they think are rural areas, but it turns out there are video cameras. And then they got caught, and they killed a young girl or boy's little puppy, and by way of apology they sent a fruit basket when they were caught doing that.
Well, it's human arrogance. And humans have screwed a lot of things up in the world, in the universe, on the earth with their human arrogance. And if you believe that, as many humans do, that we are the only animals capable of conscious thought, which we know is frankly horseshit, but there are humans that believe that, then you are making the decision that dogs and cats are unhappy.
That's right.
What if there are animals that want to live in companionship with us, because that's what they choose, in the ways that some people want to live out in the open earth, and I want to live in a townhome in the city.
Exactly.
Maybe some animals want to roam.
You know my dogs.
Yeah. Good luck getting them to go.
Good luck getting any of them to go.
Good luck getting them to go.
Because I have known that they have escaped. And I will come home and they are sitting on the front porch, or they're sitting by the back door. It's like, we had our little fun. We went all the way down the street. All the way down the street, and then we came back. So and the only way we need to kind of play God now is to do everything we can to clean. When this is actually not God, this is we need to be good humans. Clean up the sewer that is the ocean.
Yes.
That is the ocean.
And that is
Clean
the
up
earth.
and clean
the
up
landfills
the
and
landfill.
yes.
That is
the
the
mess
earth
that we made.
Right.
Yes.
We have to clean it up
Yes.
because it's not their fault. They could live fine without us. We cannot live without them.
No.
We cannot live without them. And to that end, have I talked to you about the Wrigley USC Institute for Environmental Studies out on the Isthmus of
No.
Catalina and the incredible project?
Is that where you two just went?
That's
I see all these
yes,
pictures of
yes,
you two, and you're always on a boat.
We're on boats. I know. I found
You two are
like
gonna
the
wind up
best,
getting a boat
the best friend
and just going where you're
right,
needed.
Right.
You found the ultimate traveling companion.
It's true.
Who doesn't get seasick?
Well,
Oh, she does.
she does.
Oh,
She
really?
doesn't like
Yeah.
water and or enclosed spaces. So
Yeah. Guess
boats and
what?
escape rooms.
Your other best buddy Sheena does too.
That's right. I know. I
Yeah.
know. No, there's a Dr. Kenneth Nielsen who headed up, and I think he just retired from that position, the USC Wrigley Institute for Environmental Studies, where all of these wonderful, fresh, brilliant young minds go from the Cal State system, from the UC system, from USC, NASA. I mean, there's all these young kids on this campus. But when he was overseeing it, they all have to, because it's an island, everything has to be trucked in.
Right.
Sorry, not trucked in.
Shipped
Boated in.
Yeah,
Shipped
shipped
in.
in.
And then shipped off again. And they were shipping off something like 1,000 pounds of food waste a week.
Mm.
And so he had this incredible idea, because the methane that is taking away the ozone, that's just completely destroying, it does not come from cows and cow stomachs and cow gas. It comes from landfills. The biggest percentage comes from landfills. And so this guy has this program where he takes all of the food waste. You're not allowed to throw anything out, and the napkins. And he, after every meal, the big boxes are put in this dedicated refrigerator. At 250 pounds, he takes it out into the parking lot to a $30,000 huge industrial food dehydrator.
It's not that huge. It's like as big as this table.
Mm.
Right,
Pretty great.
right. Yes, it's like it's actually even smaller than these two tables
It might be
together.
not
Right,
even as deep. Yeah.
right. And 6 hours later, what you've got is dehydrated food that looks like coffee grounds. All the water has been siphoned off, and with one filtration, the water that's been collected is potable for human use. They then take these coffee grounds, which not really coffee grounds, but this dehydrated food, down to this shipping container and they feed it to all of this black soldier fly larvae, who then process it and ingest it. These soldier fly larvae grow huge. They then take those, winnow them out from the refuse, the remains. That can all be compost. And these soldier fly larvae are then dried, and they're used as fish food.
Oh.
So there is not 1 ounce fish
Sucks
food.
to be a soldier
Right,
fly
soldier
larva.
fly. Well, yes. I mean, someone's got to take one for the
Yeah,
team.
exactly.
But there's
chicken.
chickens and fish, and you can get them live or dried, and not 1 ounce of methane, and all that food waste is gone.
Mm.
And nothing gets shipped back, right?
Nothing gets shipped back. They
anymore.
have not shipped back 1 ounce of food waste
Or garbage, yeah.
or garbage in I don't know, years. I mean, like a
Wow.
year. I think a year. And that's what we need. That's what, I'm looking at here at Notre Dame High School. That's what Notre Dame High School needs. They need that program. That's what Louisville High School
Yeah.
needs. That's what the
I would
zoo
love to
needs.
do that.
That's what every, there needs to be one every 2 blocks in every residential neighborhood.
Community, yeah.
It's just amazing. We would
It's
save
not
the
hard to
planet.
do,
It's really
and
not.
his next step, right, is to have it be solar powered, and then we're
Solar-powered.
not even using
And then
energy.
Yeah. So there you go. That's
Wow.
it. That's my story.
That's beautiful.
I've talked.
You're
Well,
exhausted.
it's if we're human beings are, as my mom used to say, just smart enough to be dangerous. It's nice for us to be using our brains for some way to help the earth. But it amazes me how people, I grew up at the beach. So I grew up on Long Island Sound, then Lake Michigan, and then in Huntington Beach here in Southern California. And man, people will go down there and they just throw anything in the,
I know.
Reese's peanut butter cup wrapper, a diaper.
I see it and I walk back over and I go, I think you
Coke can.
I think you dropped
Yeah,
this.
they don't care. They go out in the ocean and they're drinking a Coke, and then they just throw. It's like it's their
It makes
it's their trash can.
I know it hurts.
Yeah.
Hurts.
Yeah, it's
understand.
it's interesting because I went to my other Hennessy, Michael Hennessy's house last Saturday. He had an outside viewing party of Jaws. Yeah, it was great. They served sushi and fish stew, and it was very awesome. And they have a big backyard screen, and it was so fun to watch it outdoors with people. But man, you don't think it's, first of all, such a brilliant film and beautifully acted.
It is. It really has given the shark a bad name.
I was going to say
that it does not.
Right, here comes the but.
Yeah.
But just watching what people do the minute they think that there is something that is their enemy, and how they all get in their boats and they're going to kill it.
Yep.
Right.
And I think even though we know at the time what it did to the shark, I think now it's a brilliant film because it shows us what people are like as soon as people think something is threatening them.
Right.
They'll go out and kill every shark in the ocean.
That's right.
Because a shark got one girl.
Right.
And that's, we put one human life, we value one human life above everything in the ocean.
Else. And we should not. We just
and
shouldn't.
maybe she shouldn't have been splashing around drunk in the middle of
drunk.
it. You know, I don't want to say, I don't want to like shame the victim.
But listen, you can't. You can never blame the animal. You can never blame the animal. You know, Jaws 3 was like, the revenge of the shark.
Well,
it was like the mother is like, it's coming back for Captain Brody. It's like, no.
It's the shark being like off. It's not behaving like a normal shark.
Yeah.
I think eventually they try to make that point that isn't how a shark behaves.
So I'll tell you a story. So when I was 2, I was sitting on the beach with my little pail and my little bucket, pail and little scooper. And I was in Westport, Connecticut, sitting there while my mom, was in a burqa because she hated the sun with her Irish skin, hiding under 5 blankets and an umbrella.
I had met your mom.
And all of a sudden, a fin started coming at me from the water. Now, I knew about sharks because my parents were geeks. And as I started reading at 3, and even before I could read, I had the Time Life series of the books. And there was a book called Sharks. And I couldn't read then, but I could look at the pictures, and Mom read me about sharks. I knew a fin was a shark. But Jaws had not come out yet. So it was 1969. So no, you didn't know about all that crazy yet. And this fin was coming. So this is what a shark does when it's crazy.
Well, you were on the beach, though.
Yeah,
I was sitting on the beach.
Sand,
it came up onto the sand, and it beached itself, and it just laid down to die. Now, there's no revenge. No, I'm going to kill everyone before I go because I'm crazy. Obviously, it was sick, and it was not feeling well. And as animals often do, it went somewhere to die.
Mm-hmm.
And this one beached itself to die. It was about maybe a 7-foot sand shark, brown shark, come up on the sand, rolled over, and it died. So I'll tell you the rest of the story just because this is a stupid human story. So next to Mom, there were 2 ladies shaking martinis, and they had 2 little boys. And the little boys said, "Can we go over and play with the dead shark?" And they said, "Oh, of course." So they went over, they were sticking their little hands in the shark's mouth and jumping up on the shark and, punching it and being little boys. My mama grabbed me and threw me in that car so fast. And years later, I said, "Why did you do that?" It's one of my earliest memories. I said, "Why did you do that?" She said, "Honey, just because something beaches itself doesn't mean it's dead yet." And those kids were sticking their hands in that shark's mouth.
I wish. I know, right?
She's like, and those ladies were drunk.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And they just were like, "Go ahead and play with the shark, kids. I know you want to. Go ahead."
Even that makes me sad. Even if the shark was gone, that makes me sad.
It makes me totally sad.
Like defiling
but I saw a
desecration of the
shark
flesh.
have a problem
Yeah.
and go crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what it did. It didn't eat anybody. It
Right.
didn't kill anybody. It just came to the beach to die.
Yeah.
So I always think about that.
Well, listen, it is a brilliant movie. It's a wonderful character studies, great performances, and it is a disservice to the shark.
Of course.
We know that now because we need sharks because they're the apex predator in the ocean, and the amount of ozone is directly related to sharks and everything that they consume and the algae blooms, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, people learn to love sharks.
Well, Shark Week is amazing. Yeah. And I have learned from watching Shark Week, because yes, I can't get enough. I really believe that the great white, there's a certain level of intelligence in the great white that is different than other sharks.
Probably.
And I
wouldn't
think
doubt it.
the great white is more almost like leaning towards almost becoming like an orca in there. That there's a different kind of intelligence with that. As there are different kinds of intelligence, all animals have a different kind of
Including
intelligence.
humans.
including
We're going to
humans.
swim with the sharks next time we go, right?
We are swimming with sharks.
To Discovery.
Yes, we are going back to Discovery Cove.
Yeah.
Which is the adjunct park to SeaWorld in Orlando. And I highly recommend people going there and taking that extra step and doing the undersea walk and doing the dolphin encounter and doing the shark swim. Yes, we're gonna go and swim.
Great.
The sharks.
They're sweet sharks, though, right?
I'm hoping
They
they're
do
the
it every
gentle
day.
sharks.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the place in that you can swim with them in the Caribbean, right? And they're all
Sharks or
sharks.
When you're in a cage.
No, you're in the ocean with them, and you swim around like the wreck of a ship. And they're it's in the Bahamas somewhere. I saw it on Discovery Channel. Sorry,
if I could do that.
I'm in there too.
Yes,
But this particular group of sharks, they're all a group of female sharks, and they only swim out for male sharks to mate. So there's no violence amongst them. So
Boys-
you can swim with
Boys
them.
on the side. I
Yeah,
like
so you
that.
can swim with them. Yeah, go swim with the women's festival sharks, and they don't bite anybody.
I was just gonna say it's Lilith Fair. It's
Yeah,
Lilith,
it's
the
Lilith Fair
sharks.
for sharks, and they don't ever bother anybody, and they don't
Wow.
ever attack people, and they will swim around you and rub up against you and butt up against you, and they don't bite. They're not interested.
We saw that documentary on that shark that a man took a hook out of, I think it was a male. I don't remember. Anyway, out of the lip, the face, like it was through the cheek and everything. And 2 years later, he would swim there, and that shark came back and nuzzled him like a puppy. Just nuzzled him, like so happy to see him. Had a complete memory, and he would go back every.
They're not interested in us.
No.
Unless we look like a seal.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yes, as far as eating,
And even
but
then
this
they'll
was
take a
even
bite
one
and then
step
think-
further of like,
Yes.
whoa, we've never even seen them.
Right.
Yes, they shouldn't be interested in us, and this shark was interested enough to want a cuddle. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure. Give a shark a cuddle.
Animals are smart.
Hashtag cuddle a shark.
we don't
Cuddle
say
a
go
shark.
out and do
Hashtag
that. but-
cuddle
Yeah.
shark.
Yeah. Go to the Lilith
Cuddle-
Fair shark.
Cuddlefish, cuddle shark.
You guys are wonderful. Where can people find you online? Tracy.
Facebook,
All right.
Tracy Powell, and also Instagram, Tracy Ann Powell.
Wow. Today we gave sharks and nuns a good name.
Sharks and nuns. Sharks and nuns.
Yes.
And not so much PETA. They can find me at Carolyn Hennessy, and that's the simple spelling of Carolyn Hennessy, Hennessy, on my website, which is being revamped. So just, give me a break. And Instagram, throttle back, and Twitter, and Facebook, and like that there. And if you are interested in Carolyn's Queen's Curio Spiritual Oils, tweet me. And if I don't answer, tweet me again, because I've got a lot of followers and sometimes things go by. But tweet me again.
Do it.
And
I'm interested in some of your crystals.
and we'll get 'em
too.
to you.
Little
Okay.
new
We'll
package.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I'm at SheenaMetalExperience.com. That's this show, LATalkRadio.com. My movement of peace, love, kindness, and unity is at IamRaisingTheVibration.com, and our nonprofit, RaisingTheVibration.org. And my spiritual practice is at SheenaMetalSpiritual.com, and I am RaisingYourVibration.com. Find me on social media at Sheena Metal, and I'm teaching a webinar tomorrow night for empaths. It's at whydoifeeleverything.com. 6 p.m. to 7:30. It's $20, and you can do it from anywhere in the world. And if you can't watch live, you can take the class. You don't have to take it live because it's time to so that empaths understand why we feel everything and how we can live a happy life in spite of feeling everything. If you missed any of those links, just find me online somewhere. Just Google me. I'm the only one there is. It's the Sheena Metal Experience on LA Talk Radio, and you know what happens here, my friends, because I know you do. Every Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, we rip the veil off the human sideshow and expose those big old Homo sapiens at their most bizarre occasionally and at their most beautiful every single show. And you know it's my show, and that's true, my friends. It is my show, but what it really is, always and forever, it's your experience. Thanks for listening. Have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here on LA Talk Radio.
Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.